Check it out. Women of Marvel. Volume numero uno. DogLifeChris, NE1 comic book reading. So, it's been a while. I haven't been myself as of late. It's quarantine, I've had someone's dogs here the whole entire time. So that's 4 dogs here. I have to feed them. Have to keep one separate from my dog because he's vicious. Whatever. I dug through the crates, put out this Women of Marvel, and what do we have on the first page? It's a ASM. I hate when people say ASM. What? Is your mouth broken? Amazing Spider-Man! But in this issue of Amazing Spider-Man, we have a very early look. History shows the true Black Widow. And I was just amazed. Beware the Black Widow. Can't wait to get home. I'm still reeling from that blow I took when I had to fight Kingpin. Spider-Man? He swung by so fast he didn't even notice me. I wonder how other costume swingers go from battle to battle without taking a break. They must know something I don't. Why didn't I think of that before? He'd be the perfect answer to everything I need. If I could learn the secrets of Spider-Man's power and combine them with my own, then no one would be able to stop the Black Widow. I might as well face it. I can't spend my life just being Madame Natasha. That's when I was like, they're talking about Avengers Black Widow? This isn't like some Spider-Man rendition. This is the official Avengers Black Widow. Because her name's Natasha. There are too many tragic memories that never stop haunting me. Memories that won't let me rest, that won't let me sleep, that won't let me know peace. Ever! And my only escape is in the forgetfulness that action and danger bring. Now, even now, the torment of the past comes rushing back to haunt me. What is so tormenting, Natasha? Just talk to me. It'll be okay. I still remember that fateful day. I was commissioned as a spy for the native land, for my land, behind the Iron Curtain. And if you fail, the life of your husband will be forfeited. You shall have the mighty Crimson Dynamo to serve you. Some Russian Kingpin GBH type dude. Thus, Madame Natasha was transformed into the costumed Black Widow, and I was given powers enough to challenge the Iron Man. And this is actually Stan Lee writing it, because he's like remembering sequences. Too many to remember, he says, all those issues ago. Though we both knew our romance was hopeless from the start, fate had turned 2 enemies into star-crossed lovers. I'll never forget you, Natasha. Never. The Hawkeye donning the official purple suit. That was the true Hawkeye, bro. Then, in an effort to escape, to lose my heartbreak in the seething whirlpool of adventures, I served the Avengers and the dedicated agents of Nick Fury's shield. Back when Nick Fury was a white dude. Huh. All you guys over there talking about, you guys blackwash every character. Or whitewash every character. What about Nick Fury? What about Nick Fury? That's one for the black folks. Don't try to warn me of danger. I want the assignment. If you say so, lady. How could I have known How could I have suspected that my efforts would contribute to the death of the very own Red Guardian and the man who had been my husband? Huh? No! How could I have been so dumb and naive? Finally, I could bear the torment no longer. I had to leave, to flee from everything, from everyone who was a link to my tragic, guilt-ridden past. I mustn't turn back. I mustn't turn back. But now, I know that living a life of ease and luxury as a wealthy pleasure seeker, Madame Natasha, is not the answer for me. I've become the leader of the jet set, and I've hated every moment of it. I've got to become the Black Widow once again. I've got to do what I do best to fulfill my destiny, to help me forget the haunting past. How does she do that, guys? How does every costume Avenger forget and go from one stage to the next? Yeah, you don't know. You don't even know. In order to erase every last vestige of the past, I shall begin designing a new costume for us. You just get a new costume, bro, and your story changes. And then I'll search for the Spider-Man. And for those of you who thought we'd forget the star of our little saga, makes me sad. Okay, where are we at? Why do I feel so tired, so groggy? I must have been coming down with something. I can't wait to hit the sack. And then, because this arrow's pointing to this building here, we're inside that building now. Oh no, all the times, oh no, all of the times to have company. Oh, that's Spider-Man talking. Don't bother worrying, dear. I'm sure Peter's all right. We're bound to hear from him soon. I never know where he goes, Gwen, but he always comes back, okay? I can't bear to see Gwendy like so upset. I've got to get in there as Peter Parker, and soon. Besides, I'm feeling too shaky to stay out here much longer. Got it. Now for the shadowy side of the building. Oops, almost slipped just then. He changes real quick on the side of the building. Notice how he let go of his hands? I wonder how long they've been in the room. How much do they know and suspect? Well, I've managed to keep my secret so far. If my luck holds out, there's no reason why. If my head would only stop throbbing. Ouch. Well, here goes nothing. Hi, group. Don't tell me I missed the party. Peter, it's you. You're all right. I told you he'd be back. He always gets hungry at feeding time. I know I should act angry and hard to but I miss you. Oh, man of mine. Captain Stacy, why does he look at me like that way? What happened to your face, son? Peter, I didn't notice. You've been hurt. Okay, he's not talking a lot. He's just doing a lot of daydreaming. Nuts, I forgot. I must be bruised from my big fight with the Kingpin. It was that Spider-Man, wasn't it? He did this to you, didn't he? If she only knew, she would become... What is her? I don't know. Stacy. Spider-Gwen. That's the word. When he came here before, oh, that's her. When he came here before, looking for you, I know he was dangerous. I could sense it. Another development from the last issue. Remember? Stan. He always puts his name. If I agree, she'll end up hating Spider-Man. But what else can I say? Peter, if you're in any sort of trouble, I am clumsy. I am too clumsy to lie up a dream or something new. And I can't tell her that Peter Parker was actually battling Kingpin. I'm not in trouble. Why does everyone keep hounding me? Hounding you? Is that all you can say to people who worry about you, who want to help you? Easy, Peter. Easy. Don't lose your temper. What's wrong with me? Is that how you feel about the girl who loves you? Gwen, forgive me. I didn't mean to snap like that. I wouldn't hurt you for anything in the world. If you really mean that, I want you to make a promise to me. Anything, honey. Anything. All right, is my hair done dripping? Promise you'll never have anything to do with Spider-Man again. He's too dangerous. Those photos you take of him, they aren't worth the risk. Oh, but she's only asking me for my own good because she loves me. I can't deny her again. And yet, how can I pledge her the impossible? You can call me when you're ready to promise. I'll drive you both home. Captain Stacy, you know how I feel about Gwen. I wouldn't hurt her for anything, but I understand, son. But Gwen is a female, and like all females, she thinks with her heart. She feels you're keeping something from her, and that's hard to take for a girl in love. How much more does she suspect about me than I'll admit? Wait. Oh, he's talking about Captain Stacy, not she. If only the dizziness would pass and I could think clearly. I've been in fights before, but I've been injured before, but I never felt like this. My spider strength, it's never failed me before. It always brought me to a quick recovery. But what if I'm losing it? What if I've been in one too many fights? I can't read these. I don't want to bend the spine. That's the biggest pet peeve of mine, is bending the spine in books. I can't shake this feeling of lethargy and dullness. I couldn't even study if I tried. But maybe it's just as well that I'm glad that I'm groggy. I'm glad that it's hard to think. Anything's better than facing the fact that I'm losing my Gwen. All right, Stan Lee interjects here. And now we've concluded one of the longest scene-setting introductions in comic book history. Let's see if we can get our story going while we're still young enough to care. It's my Stan voice. It may not be as fancy, but this new costume will be more in keeping with the swinging 70s and with the modern age of the new Black Widow. Oh yeah, that's the one I remember. This chain belt I've added will be more than decorative. It'll hold my spare web line and store the powerlets of my widow's bite. What? There, with my modified wrist shooters in position, I'm ready for everything. But no matter how effective my powers may be, they're just like a female imitation of the original wall-crawling, web-shooting Spider-Man. And since the Black Widow has no intention of living in the shadow of another, I've got to go after Spider-Man and snare him and see what makes him tick. If his powers should prove to be greater than mine, I've got to learn how and why. Whatever his secrets may be, I've got to find it and use it for the benefit of the new Black Widow. And so, my first task must be to find Spider-Man. And then, when I do, I must prove myself his equal or learn the reason why. Later, at the office of the Daily Bugle, Spider-Man? swinging past? No, it isn't a wall crawler. It's a girl copying his act. Forgot that guy's name. It just... who knew that she was like almost a villain in Spider-Man comic? That's all the Blaster Town needs. Another crummy web slinging. It is a female in boots. Spider-Man probably put her up to it. To confuse everybody. I'd almost forgotten how glorious it feels to swing through the air and free as a bird. Sandlin, get ready to sign in. It's almost 9:30. Don't let my dog out either. Now, all I need to do is wait for my prey. And speaking of the youth who seem to be on everyone's mind today, it's no use. The more I try to study, the groggier I get. I don't know what's wrong with me, but whatever it is, it's getting worse. I always wondered if my spider powers would someday fade away. After all, there's no reason to think it'll last forever. But it won't help just sitting around feeling sorry for myself. If anything's wrong, I want to know it. And this is as good as any ways to find out. What you talking about, Spidey? Just take a nap, fool. If it isn't anything serious, then a good workout ought to clear my head. But if it is the case that I'm losing my powers, then I won't be able to keep this up much longer. Here comes that dizziness again. I'm beginning to fall. I better play it safe and use my webbings for support. Nuts. All the places for this to happen. And I'm right outside the window of Jameson's office. Someone's at my window. Don't go bananas, bird brain. It's only me. You creep. I don't know what you're up to, but if you want to try any funny stuff around here, no chance, Chuckles. I'm too scared you'll pop me with the paperclip. Just wait till the cops get you. Oh, go join the silent majority. Anything to shut you up. Yee. Perhaps I ought to swing past my Aunt May's. If I look in on her, it may stop me from thinking about myself so much. And as Spider-Man silently glides towards the modest little framed house in the Forest Hills, I'm sure that this is hot milk and cookies will help you to sleep, my dear. I don't know what can be keeping me awake tonight, Anna. Unless it's the fact that I haven't heard from Peter lately. I know I shouldn't worry, but she's sure to... Oh, he's thinking about it. She's sure to be asleep at this hour, but I'll ask Anna Watson if... Oh no, it's her. She sees me. Anna! Yes, me. At the window. There's a face. Now, dear. You mustn't let your imagination run away with you. You're all keyed up, and that's why you can't sleep. I suppose you're right, Anna. The face isn't there anymore, but it seems so lifelike. Well, I almost did it again. That's to my own carelessness. I almost frightened the poor old lady out of her wits. I'd better head back before something else goes wrong. But at that very critical moment, I found him at last. My spider senses, why are they tingling? What does she do? I'll announce myself with the widow's bite. Bzzz. He's falling, but I didn't even strike him that hard. Is he playing possum or what? I'll let myself fall to get out of range till I know who's attacking me. Can't take any chances. I've got to catch him. There, I've got him safely tied to the gritter. I guess the metal stuff up there. So now I can see what makes him tick. Whoever it is, it's coming closer. I can sense it. He caught me off balance, broke my line, kicking out with his foot. Then he was playing possum. Have to swing to the wall, then see what I've caught. A female? One that I never saw before. These aren't the ideal conditions for an introduction, but I'm called the Black Widow. The Black Widow? You used to be with the Avengers, but not in that getup. Anyway, the important thing is, why'd you attack me? Come closer and find out. Look, a girl can get hurt up here. Give me your hand. I'll help you down. Can't stay up here much longer. The way my head is spinning around. He's within range. Now get him. Okay, Mask Man. Now where were we? Don't think I'm helpless just because I'm soft and cuddly. Soft and cuddly? That kid felt like a Missouri mule. That was just for starters. Wait till you see the goodies that come next. What? What's wrong with him? Why doesn't he defend himself? The whole purpose of all this is for me to learn about his powers, but it's beginning to look like he doesn't have any. What's happening to my speed? I couldn't duck fast enough. What's happening, Spider? I've got to rest and store up my strength. At the same time, learn what she's up to. Look, Spider-Man, for a so-called living legend, you're a king-size disappointment to me. I'm beginning to think Woody Allen could take you. You're supposed to be the most dangerous opponent of all. That's why I tackled you. I wanted to learn what I could from you. I thought I'd discover your secret powers. Powers? What a laugh. You're the biggest washout since the flood. You broke my line, but I've had enough, lady. Now, no curvy carbon copy is gonna swipe my style. There's only room for one Spider-Man in this town, and you're looking at him. The strain has me groggy again, but she mustn't suspect. Let's see what you can do with your wrist gizmo stuffed with my web fluid. He jammed him. I can't fire. I was wrong about him. He must be toying with me. I don't even come close to being his match. I got my powers through training and through unique weapons. But the way he moves and fights and uses his strength, it's like he was born that way. And so whatever strange secrets Spider-Man may possess, they're bound to remain his own until he himself decides to give them away. And perhaps that's the way it should be. I have my own unusual powers, my own combat style, and my own strange destiny to fulfill. So whatever danger lie ahead, I'll face them my way as the Black Widow. And if you guessed this was our sneaky way of whetting your appetite for the appearance of Black Widow in the Champions. Okay. Issue 6, March 16, back in the 70s. Now back to Spider-Man. That was like Stan Lee's writings at the bottom. Well, I imagined to get her off my back, but it was lucky for me that she didn't want to didn't want a return match? It took all the willpower I could muster not to toss in the sponge back there. Oh, like tap out? I thought fresh air and exercise would get me back in shape, but I can't kid myself any longer. There is something wrong with me, and it's something no amount of web swinging will cure. I have to get home as soon as possible while I can still make it on my own. Then take a chance that Harry will be asleep. Oh, Harry. Because even if he isn't, I couldn't make it back out again. Later, after a brief rest, if I go to the doctor, he might want to check my blood. It's the one thing I fear, the one thing that could reveal my secret. But what if my hunch is correct? What if I'm losing my spider powers? What if my blood is turning normal? There's only one way to find out. I've got to test it myself. I've got to know the answer. And so, just one drop here on the slide, and now all I have to do is look to learn whether I'll be Spider-Man no longer. Why can't I do it? Why am I stalling this way? After all these years, when I've secretly wished I could be normal like everyone else, now that's a chance of my wish coming true. And is that what I'm really afraid of? The end. NE1 comic book reading. That was a brief history of the Black Widow. Who knew? I never knew. I think I read this. It's like 4 or 5 years old though. Pretty old. Because this is one of the first comic books we ever bought. It doesn't really say a date. It says every date of every comic book. There is a long list of girls in there. The Cat, the Shenna the She-Devil, Miss Marvel, the Dazzler, Uncanny Avengers. That's just a whole bunch of girls. Uncanny Avengers. We out.